We start? Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. Agar Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga Agar Shri Prabhupada. Due to my inability to manage time and my desire to share something more, with your permission, I'll keep Jara the Madhava a little bit short. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Giribharadhari Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Giribharadhari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Thank you all for coming for Darshanarti and Bhagavatam class. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Really? Naranam Nama. Please repeat with me. Naranam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of God in Narayan. unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nashtapayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama sloke bhakti bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Thank you. Thank you all for giving me the opportunity to share something with you. And also learn with you in the process. Please give me your blessings, and please forgive any offenses that I do come across. I try to do my best to to keep it as simple as I can. Please do stop me if I go too fast, and please share your encouragement by nodding your head sometimes. So so far we've read throughout the journey of Devotee and Kardama Muni, from after their marriage, and then after Devotee and Kardama Muni's marriage, Devotee serves her husband Kardama Muni, who in return fulfills her desire to have children, and then Kardama Muni then renounces, and then Devotee, after realizing Kardama Muni's renunciation, laments for not utilizing her husband's association for cultivating spiritual knowledge. And then, after Kardama Muni hears her laments, her sadness, grief, Kardama Muni instructs Devotee to worship the Lord, and the Lord will, and he tells her that the Lord will appear as her son. And soon after, Brahma arrives, as the Lord is always, the Lord always descends with his associates. So the Lord always descends with his associates. And so Lord Kapila arrives to uproot karma and with jnana and vijnana. And then Brahma glorifies Devahoti and predicts the future activities of Kapila Dev. And then Brahma then returns with Narada, which we heard yesterday, and returns with Narada and the Kumaras and requests Kardama Muni's 9 daughters to be married with Brahma's 9 sons. So today we'll be hearing more about how Kardama Muni understands that the Lord has appeared, and he offers his blessing. Not his blessing, but he offers his due reverence, his respects. Does anyone here know what is it that we sing when the Lord descends? Correct. Yes. We during Janmashtami, we always recite the Brahma Samhita, as it reveals the nature of the Lord and how amazing and wonderful he is. Obviously, every time the Lord descends, he descends in the most beautiful way. It's amazing. So today we'll be reading from Canto 3, Chapter 24, Text 26. We'll just go through the whole thing first, and then focus on the purport on the focus. We'll be reading from Canto 3, Chapter 24, 26 to 34. Would anyone like?
When Kardama Muni understood that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the chief of all the demigods, Vishnu, had descended, Kardama approached him in a secluded place, offered obeisances, and spoke as follows.
So, understanding that the Supreme Lord has descended, Kardama Muni approached Lord Kapila and offered his obeisances. What we do whenever whenever we come into the temple, we offer our obeisances to Bhagajanti, Prabhupada. We always offer obeisances and speak a little, if we can share a little, about, glorify them. Anyone, to the Lord. And it can also be anyone, any senior devotees. We offer our obeisances, our respects to someone who is above us. And so just like that, a similar pastime is when Rupa Goswami knew that Lord Chaitanya was Krishna himself. So he offered his respects with the following words, saying, I offer my respects to Krishna, who has now appeared as Lord Chaitanya. And so the most amazing part is his devotees are so pure and learned that they can recognize the truth immediately. So, go to the next verse.
Kardama Muni said, Oh, after a long time, the demigods of this universe have become pleased with the suffering souls who are in material entanglement because of their own misdeeds.
I had a lot of questions with this one because it's like, it says that the demigods are pleased with the suffering souls. But I understood that after hearing from senior devotees, I've understood that it basically the conditioned souls, they're suffering so much that they start, sometimes conditioned soul starts praying to the demigods, and the demigods become pleased with their offerings, and to that extent the demigods realize, okay, let me save them by going through and asking for his favor and asking him to descend to help us. Go to 28.
After many births, mature yogis, by complete trance in yoga, endeavor in secluded places to see the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yes, the yogis, after many births, in complete trance in yoga, which Prabhupada in his purport says that the complete trance, meaning the complete practice of yoga, means bhakti yoga, and not just any yoga, but bhakti yoga specifically. Unless he says that, unless one comes to the point of bhakti yoga or surrender unto the Supreme, one's yoga practice is incomplete. So it's some heavy stuff. But what's amazing is bhakti yoga is so simple. All it's required is love, that devotion towards Krishna, and practicing that. You don't have to think about, how can I stop my breathing, or how can I control my breathing, or how can I, meditate. It's so hard to meditate. I don't understand how people do yoga, but it's possible. I just have a very fickle mind, and to that extent, I can never really focus. Even while chanting, I'm just like all over the place. But some days, by Krishna's mercy, by the devotees' mercy, my japa will be nice. But yes, it's very important that we practice bhakti yoga. And these yogis, they've been practiced for many, many births, not just like one birth, but many births. And to that extent, they're still, through their practice, ultimately they come to that position of, okay, complete yoga, right? Like complete trance. So the next verse is our focus verse. If you can meditate as we go along, and then we'll go back to 29. Yes, please read.
Not considering the negligence of ordinary householders like us, that very same Supreme Personality of Godhead appears in our homes just to support his devotees.
Yeah, and we're very fortunate to have someone, as the Lord, as Krishna, who is very merciful. He's descended to his devotees without, like, all the devotees do is constantly serve him, constantly meditate on him, think about him, and serve him, and through that the Lord is pleased. Just see how simple it is. There's so many processes of bhakti, and if you just follow those processes, then there's no doubt, Krishna will come to you. It's just a matter of time. And obviously, intensity. Intensity is another one important thing. It's like we have to have intensity, absorption, and love. We can go to the next verse.
Kardama Muni said, "You, my dear Lord, who are always increasing the honor of your devotees, have descended in my home just to fulfill your word and disseminate the process of real knowledge."
Yeah, this is also very nice. It's stating, Kardama Muni is stating, you've descended to fulfill your promises. Can we state, like, can someone tell me, like, what are some pastimes where Krishna had made a promise and he kept his promise regardless of what happened? Oh, yes. Yes. After, I think it's like 100 offenses, so it was some number of offenses, and he kept doing that. And last one, yeah. Anyone? Yeah, go for it. Oh,
This isn't really a particular pastime, but Krishna says, "My devotee never vanquishes, never perishes."
Yeah.
So we see that in countless pastimes of Krishna, protecting his devotees, protecting them either materially or spiritually, physically or subtly.
He does make that very clear statement in Bhagavad Gita, I'll be there no matter what, to his devotees. One pastime that really gets to me is when he gets really angry at Bhishma Dev. He just goes for it, and he specifically said, I will not fight in this battle, but still, to save his devotee, Arjuna, he just goes in, it's like, I'm going to get you. I thought that was very interesting. Yeah, we can go to the next verse. Sorry, Guruji, making you walk
31.
Yeah.
My dear Lord, although you have no material form, you have your own innumerable forms. They are truly your transcendental forms, which are pleasing to your devotees.
Yeah. This one, Prabhupada talks about how the Mayavadis cannot understand the whole concept of materially you have no form, but spiritually, transcendentally you have multi-form. And so, therefore, because they cannot understand it, they say, "Oh, the Supreme Lord is impersonal," and it's very interesting. It's because I like to believe that the relationships run throughout this world, and like being impersonal and impersonalist, it's very interesting that they find it difficult to understand this. But we are very fortunate that we understand this, because to some extent it may seem very difficult, but because we have so much faith in the Lord and His words, that we believe as it is. And more importantly, Srila Prabhupada says that wherever there is a form, there is a person. Even if Krishna says, I'm also impersonal, but I'm also personal. But the understanding of personal, the fact that He's present, He's stating, I will be there. He's making promises. Only a person can make promises. No one impersonal can make a promise, So this is also very nice. And then it's also, according to the liking of different grades of devotees, He simultaneously exists in multi forms. So it's really up to you what you desire, what kind of, how do you want to worship Krishna, and however you want to worship Krishna is present with you according to that. Go to the next verse.
My dear Lord, your lotus feet are the reservoir that always deserve to receive worshipful homage from all great sages, eager to understand the absolute truth. You are full in opulence, renunciation, transcendental fame, knowledge, strength, and beauty, and therefore I surrender myself unto your lotus feet.
Yes, just like whenever we see the Lord, we always chant the Brahma Samhita during Darshanarati when the curtains open. We're always singing his opulences. Just like that, Kardama Muni is also, he started off with the, you increase the honor of devotees, and then he goes, your forms, your different forms, and then now he's talking about his opulences and how amazing he is. Next verse.
I surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, descended in the form of Kapila, who is independently powerful and transcendental, who is the Supreme Person and the Lord of the sum total of matter and the element of time, who is the fully cognizant maintainer of all the universes under the three modes of material nature, and who absorbs the material manifestations after their dissolutions.
Again, he's going on appreciating Lord Kapila's powers, Krishna's powers, and how powerful he is, how he's time, fully cognizant, maintainer of the universe, and absorbs the universe after dissolution. He's just appreciating his qualities. Next.
Today I have something to ask from you, for the Lord of all living entities. Since I have now been liberated by you from my debts to my Father, and since all my desires are fulfilled, I wish to accept the order of an itinerant mendicant. Renouncing this family life, I wish to wander about, free from lamentation, thinking always of you in my heart.
Yeah, this one was hard for me to understand this verse, because how does someone, especially in this Kali Yuga, how does someone fulfill all their debts and also fulfill all their desires, because desires are so infinite in this world. You're never completely quite happy as long as you're tangled with the material nature, and I know I can, but obviously we do see our senior devotees, great Maharajas, Sri Prabhupada's disciples, wonderful senior devotees who have, accepted and have done, completely are content with everything they have, and then now they have surrendered. And not just surrendered to, to renounce in family life and wander about, but also thinking of always of you in my heart. This is the most important part. As long as we can constantly do that, sooner or later, eventually we will understand that we are finally, our desires are fulfilled. And Krishna does fulfill everyone's desires sooner or later. And it's just a matter of time. But if you can desire something higher, if we can come into the higher platform, desire something even higher, higher. But if we can desire something, we can desire Krishna, then surely we'll achieve the Supreme, right? It's like there's higher, but then there's a Supreme. So we should always try to desire the Supreme and, always be associated with Him through His devotees. And only then we can completely renunciate, just like Gardama Muni has the desire. And he's asking this from Krishna. He's not, and it's, one thing is, what recently I've been learning is that there's two things that are important in terms of bhakti. Obviously, many things are important, but these two things that I feel is, one thing is our desire, that, we have to have the desire to appreciate, to want to be with Krishna. And then the second thing is the Lord's mercy. Without the Lord's mercy, nothing is possible. Even it's, like Sri Prabhupada says that, even a blade of grass does not move without the Lord's will. And so we have to have His mercy, and only then we can be successful in our endeavors. Yes. Okay, we can go back to our focus verse, verse 29. So like this, Gardama Muni has spoke to the Lord and paid his obeisances and appreciated Him for His wonderful qualities. And in this verse 29, we can read together. Sa eva bhagavanadya helanam naganayana griheshu jato gramyamam yasanam pakshaposhana. Sa eva bhagavanadya helanam nagunayana griheshu jato gramyanam yashanam pakshaposhana. Saeva bhagavan adya helanam naganayana griheshu jato gramyanam yashanam pakshaposhana. Anyone like to read? Saeva bhagavan adya helanam naganayana griheshu jato gramyanam yashanam pakshaposhana. Saeva bhagavan adya helanam naganayana griheshu jato gramyanam yashwanam pakshaposhana. Yaeva bhagavan adya helanam naganayana griheshu jato gramyanam yashanam pakshaposhana. We can continue. Synonyms. Sa eva, that very same. Bhagavan, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Adya, today. Helanam, negligence. Na, not. Ganaya, considering high and low. Na, our. Griheshu, in the houses. Jata, appeared. Gramyanam, of ordinary householders. Ya, he who. Shanam, of his own devotees. Pakshaposhanaha, who supports the party. Translation. Not considering the negligence of ordinary householders like us, that very same Supreme Personality of Godhead appears in our homes just to support His devotees. Anyone like to?
Devotees are so affectionate toward the personality of Godhead that although He does not appear before those who practice yoga in a secluded place, even for many, many births, He agrees to appear in a householder's home where devotees engage in devotional service without material yoga practice. In other words, devotional service to the Lord is so easy that even a householder can see the Supreme Personality of Godhead as one of the members of his household, as his son, as Kartama Muni experienced. He was a householder, although a yogi, but he had the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Kapila Muni, as his son. Devotional service is such a powerful transcendental method that it surpasses all other methods of transcendental realization. The Lord therefore says that he lives neither in Vaikuntha nor in the heart of a yogi, but he lives where his pure devotees are always chanting and glorifying him. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is known as Bhakta Vatsala. He is never described as Jnani Vatsala or Yogi Vatsala. He is always described as Bhakta Vatsala because he is more inclined toward his devotee than toward other transcendentalists. In Bhagavad Gita, it is confirmed that only a devotee can understand him as he is. Bhaktya mam avijanati. One can understand me only by devotional service, not otherwise. That understanding alone is real because although jnanis, mental speculators, can realize only the effulgence or the bodily luster or of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the yogis can realize only the partial representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A bhakta not only realizes him as he is, but also associates with the personality of Godhead face to face.
End of class would have been the case if I didn't have a deep desire to share a very special story that I've heard only 2 days ago. And I hope I can share it with that same rhythm, but it's very difficult because the person I heard it from has many, many years of experience of Bhakti Yoga than I will ever. And so hopefully I could still connect and share something from there. Just like, you know, a musician, when they play, they have to practice. And so someone who tries to copy the musician, it won't be the same, but to some extent. So please forgive me. But let me share, please give me the permission to share something. Before I start, this is a very amazing verse because it shows how simple we just have to be in order to receive the Lord. It's very simple, but still there's always some difficulties in our hearts. There's always some duality. Oh no, you know, maybe I have this desire. I'll give 50% to myself and then 50% to Krishna. It's never 100%. But it's so nice because the Lord still accepts anything and everything that you have to offer, and more importantly, the Lord accepts. He doesn't ask for much. He really doesn't ask for much, and whatever little that we can offer, He really appreciates it. I was told that even the little thing that you offer, He looks at it as like really big. Oh, you know, He has offered this much. You know, whether it be prasadam, you know, anything. Even just lighting a lamp during Damodar month, it's very. He feels very loved in that way, and we can experience His love by the way, because the way He shares His love, it's I want to say I've felt it because there's days where like I'll struggle and I'll see that, you know, there's so much love that I'm receiving in the process, and to that extent I'll think, oh, you know, it's not really a bad day. I'm having a great day actually because I'm feeling that essence, that love, and He shares His love through His devotees, and so yes, it's very. He's, you know, Supreme Personality of God. He doesn't ask for much. He just keeps it very simple. And what's more amazing is that, you know, for example, like Kapila Muni and then Kardama Muni and then Kapila Dev. Kapila Dev just came to an ordinary householder life, and he just appeared that way. And so like that, from that I understood that Krishna appears in very simple ways. We just have to have that vision to see that, okay, you know, Krishna is present in that. Just like, you know, when a guest comes, it's said that, you know, we give them the respect of, you know, as if, you know, a demigod has come or someone very important has come, and we just serve them regardless of whatever relationship it is, even if it is your own enemy. You receive them properly, and from that we can receive a lot of blessings. But I'll just cut to the chase and share this wonderful story that I heard 2 days ago. Basically, it was Keshav Maharaj, Shravan Bhagavan Keshav Maharaj. He was explaining this wonderful story, and I thought this would really connect to this verse that we're focused in. So it's the story of Gauridas Pandit, and it's story of Gauridas Pandit and Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. So Gauridas Pandit lived in Ambika Kalna, and Gauridas Pandit was very wonderful, very amazing devotee. And sometimes Gauranga Mahaprabhu would come and row across in a boat, across a river to meet him. And there's this one time where he came and when he was rowing, like you use a row to row your boat, right? I'm not sure, was that called a row? To row your boat? Paddle, yes, paddle. So instead of using a paddle, this one time he used an oar. Does everyone here know what an oar is? Huh? An oar is a paddle? Really? No, I thought oar, because Keshav Maharaj specifically said oar as in like an oar, like an oar can be a paddle? Is it? Okay. Forgive me. I thought when Maharaj said oar, I thought he meant like literally a rock. But yes, so basically an oar. He came with an oar. And he gave this, after he reached to Ambika Kalna, he gave this oar to Gauridas Pandit. And he said, just like I've used this oar to cross the ocean to come to you, you use this oar to help everyone cross the ocean of material existence. And so this oar is still present in Ambika Kalna, if I'm correct, it's in Bangladesh. And there's also, in Ambika Kalna, there's also a manuscript of Bhagavad Gita, handwritten by Mahaprabhu, which is still present till this day. So one day, this is another time, Gauridas Pandit found out that, like Mahaprabhu is renunciating. He's about to, obviously at that time it's Gauranga. Gauranga Prabhu is renunciating. So he felt very grieved, very sad, because at that time, during those days, it was very difficult to know that someone close to you was renunciating, because they were taking the sannyas order because they wouldn't be around there. Basically, if anyone was to, let's say this is back then in Kajaji, and let's say, Drishadumna decided that, okay, I'm going to take sannyas, he wouldn't be present anymore. He wouldn't be present anymore in Kajaji, because a renunciate is always traveling from place to place, and he wouldn't be present. He wouldn't be present all the time, basically. That would be the case. So Gauridas Pandit found out, and he was just very grieved. He was like, what's going to happen? So he says that, I want your constant association. And he told Gauranga Mahaprabhu this, that I want your constant association. You please don't leave me like this. It will be like the gopis, like the gopis said that, when Krishna left Vrindavan, gopis said that, Krishna, we cannot live without you, and we cannot die, because we will hope that you will come back one day. So it's like living in a suspended existence. You don't know what to do. You're waiting, and then you don't know how to wait anymore. Sort of like that. So Gauranga and Nityananda Prabhu heard this, and they decided that they will manifest two deities and mention that we will reside here in Ambika Kalna for the rest of time. So Gauridas Pandit, after receiving these deities, he's constant worshipping and intense worship with dedication. He's just always and in Ambika Kalna at that time, because Gauranga and Nityananda Prabhu were all both present, they were there was constant kirtan and everything, right? And so there's this one time, and this evening arati was going on. So you know how like in we know that the most important time of day is what? Brahma Muhurta, right? So Mangalarati, right? But in East Bengal, the most important time of day is evening. Does anyone know what happens in the evening? Correct, Gora Arati. Because Gora Arati, initially it came from when there was everyone present. This was, yes, Mahaprabhu and all his associates were present, and Mahaprabhu sat on his throne, and everyone was offering Gora Arati, and that's when they sang the Gora Arati in offering him. So we know that Mahaprabhu is present every time, Gora Arati happens. So in East Bengal, Gora Arati is like the most important time because everyone would come together and they would just chant ecstatically. And they know that, Gauranga Mahaprabhu was with them in Gora Arati. And so, yes. And so everyone got together to worship Gauranga Nityananda in Ambika Kalna. And obviously they sing Kiba Jaya Jaya Gora Chande Aratiko Shobha. And in the Vishnu Purana, it is mentioned that wherever my devotees chant with intensity, love, and absorption, then I come to that place. So if we really take this into heart, then we'll really understand during Gora Arati, Gauranga Mahaprabhu is always present. And Ayendra Prabhu says this is that the greatest kirtans are those when everyone is in the same mood and everyone's synced up. And at that time, surely you can believe that Gauranga Mahaprabhu is present, dancing, because he's also there wherever his holy name is. And so this one specific pastime is when Gauridas Pandit is worshipping Gaur Nitai, and Kirtan is happening this evening, and then lo and behold, Gaur Nitai arrives. It's interesting. They're present. They just come out of nowhere. They're all there. They're dancing. They're ecstatic, and it's just like connecting this to this verse. It's like everyone's just a regular householder, just having some ecstatic kirtan, and then Gaur Nitai is there. So just like that, it's just connecting to this verse. So we get from this. There's also a saying. There's also a verse that says that Sri Chaitanya eternally enacts his transcendental pastimes in the holy dham of Mayapur, but only those who, by the dint of their innumerable pious deeds, have a pure heart are able to see them. So we have to really get into that intensity to purify ourselves and understand that, so we can visually actually see Gauranga Mahaprabhu present, dancing with us as we're having an ecstatic kirtan. And this evening, I was so ecstatic that Gauranga Nityananda deities were in the altar. Obviously, we already have a Gauranga Nityananda deities that were dancing in that evening. And then the ones in the altar, they just decided, I'm going to jump off. I'm going to get out and I'm going to dance with them. And so they did. So they start dancing with the whole crowd. There's now 2 sets of Gauranga Nityananda just like dancing together with all his devotees. And everyone's just ecstatic, just out of this world. They don't know what to do. They're just jumping up and down. And then the only person in the altar right now is who? Gauridas Pandit. He's the only person in the altar, and he's like, okay, so first, he's like confused, like, hold on, Gauranga Mahaprabhu is very unpredictable. First, he decides to take renunciation, and now he's jumped off the altar. And now Gauridas Pandit is like, will he ever come back? Is he going to come back to that altar so I can worship him? Or what's going on? What's going to happen? And he says that I better catch him before he does something even more unpredictable. So now, now Gauridas Pandit jumps off the altar, and before the altar was the focus, now the kirtan is the focus. And so Gauridas Pandit, he's so intense that he starts grabbing a stick and chasing Gauranga Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. Can we remember a pastime that's happened like this before? correct. Yes, Damodar indeed. Yes. So just like that, he's just chasing. Gauridas Pandit is chasing Gauranga Nityananda. And so Gauranga Nityananda is like, what do we do? What do we do? Like, what's next? Where do we go? And so there was a very pure, amazing devotee named Hridayananda. So they decide that, okay, you know what? Let's jump into Hridayananda's heart. This is a wonderful devotee, and so they just decide, I'm going to jump into Hridayananda's heart. So they're in Hridayananda's heart at that point, and does anyone want to guess that what his name became because they decided to jump into his Hridaya Chaitanya? Yes, Hridaya Chaitanya. I looked at it and I was like, wow, that is amazing. Hridaya means the heart, right? Yes, Hridaya, the heart, and Chaitanya, Mahaprabhu is present there. So now there's only one set of Gauranga Nityananda, and but later on, the Gauranga Nityananda inside Hridaya Chaitanya's heart again emerged from there and again went back into their altar. And now to this day, if you go to Ambika Kalna, you'll only receive interrupted darshans. So like the curtains will literally like stay up for like 5 minutes and then they'll close right away, because everyone there is still scared that they will jump off the Gauranga Nityananda Prabhu will jump off the altar and start doing very unpredictable things. So just like this, it shows that Gauranga Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, they're always present. Krishna is always present in like, anywhere he's being glorified, he's being loved and cared for, he's present. We also just want to, even like if you think of ourselves, we also just want to go to places where like we're being loved and cared for, right? So just like that, he's very personal, and Krishna likes to be present in his devotees' hearts because he feels comfort, he feels warmth in there, and from that he wants to feel safe. So that's basically the story, and my point of, if it wasn't clear, is that the Lord is very merciful. He doesn't have, I want to be in a big throne and be like this. No, he's like patram pushpam phalam tvayam. I don't ask for much. Just give me some little offerings with some love, and that's it. That's literally it. And so because the Lord is so merciful, my second point comes to that, is that we should take advantage of this mercy that the Lord has to offer. There's a saying that Srila Prabhupada's father said that, like, if the Lord has something to give to you, how much can you really carry? Because he can give you everything. So today, like, I guess I just want to end the class with stating that, let's pray that, we can have such intense love and devotion like Gauridas Pandit, Kardama Muni, who were like so focused. They were like, hey, like, I want to surrender to you. I want to think about you. And we want to take that in and pray to the Lord in that way, so that we can, request him to reside in our hearts, and also be able to serve him properly, and pray for his mercy, his constant mercy, because even that whole desire, it won't be fulfilled unless we pray for his mercy. And there's a saying that says, Krishna Surya Sama, Maya, Krishna Surya Sama. Krishna is like the sun, Maya hai andhakar. Maya is like darkness. Jaha Krishna taha nehi Maya radhikar. So wherever there is Krishna, wherever there's the sun, there's no chance of darkness. So if we can just, if we really think that our hearts are fully black and dark, and there's no sort of sunlight to love and care for others, then like, if we can just pray, and if we have that deep desire, obviously we want to absorb that light within us. So all is required is that request that Krishna to reside in your heart. Obviously, He's always there as Paramatma, there's no doubt. But He's given us a free will to do whatever we want. So, but if we have the desire of that, by utilizing our free will to have love for Him, slowly but surely that will happen. And let us pray also that, one day our Gornitai will also jump off the altar and dance with us. And, and be absorbed in that Gauranga Mahaprabhu's intensity mood with his associates who are very deeply, deeply attached to him. I guess attachment is such an important thing too, and we should try to engage our attachments into serving them in that way. Oh, I went here, sorry I'm a bit late, but if there's any questions or comments, realizations, yes, please. Please don't ask a question.
I have kind of a small question, I don't know, but we always, we hear Krishna's present in His names, He's Supreme Personality of Godhead, and this class, the theme was like Krishna's present, Krishna's so merciful that He's there. But then still, at least myself, I find myself cheating myself out of actually taking advantage of that. And it's like, I know it, I've read it 1,000 times, I've heard it 1,000 times, and then still it's like, I'm just struggling to actually apply that knowledge or take advantage of it. So I'm wondering what advice you might have for someone.
Oh, rough. You're asking, you're a blind man, I'm a blind man. We're both blind man. Yeah, I'm also suffering in that same way. I'm speaking a lot of stuff, but I don't think I'm acting in that same way. But did you want to share something?
I think you touched on one way when you talked about what Andrew Prabhu was saying about when, I don't remember the exact words, but when you have a group of devotees that are all with the same mood, really chanting together with intensity. I think Naveen Shyam Prabhu, we have these Friday night kirtans that I think many of you have been to before. And he came back to visit a few months back, 2 or 3 months ago. And he said, I don't know what it is. There's just something special about these Friday night kirtans, and it's really simple. It's not like we fly in the best musicians from all over the world. And I mean, there's devotees that sing very nicely, but it's not, it's not about that, right? But there's this group of devotees all coming together with the same mood and the same intensity and the focus. And I've noticed that in those moments that there's like a special mercy that's available, that every Friday, it seems like, without fail. And so I think in that sense, surrounding yourself with others that help to bring you to that point that you can't get to on your own, I think, is maybe, you kind of mentioned it already. So.
No, but yes, you're right. I have been to those Friday kirtans, and they're very, like, I love you because everyone has the same mood, and the mood is to like serve one another. I think that's such an important mood, and if we can all have that mood together as a unity, there's no doubt that we will overcome this forgetfulness, because that's why Sri Prabhupada emphasizes so much on association. It's such a big thing, because if you hear, if you're surrounded by friends that are always talking about Krishna, then like you feel like, oh, like they're studying this, oh, let me also study right by them, sit next to them, hear from them, and from that we can connect, we can understand and constantly be engaged in the whole understanding of Krishna consciousness. Because sometimes, especially when you're alone, is when that mindset comes in that, oh, like I'm really not doing anything that important, I'm just sitting around, at least me, but Yes, so association is such a big factor in our movement. Like, there's no such thing as solo sadhana. Like, I've experienced more love within whenever I was chanting, with devotees together. That's when I feel the most, like so much love, because I feel like everyone's doing the same thing. Everyone's in sync, and when you're alone, you just focus on yourself. Okay, everyone's doing this, everyone's doing that. What am I doing? I'm not doing anything. But when you're with everyone together and you're practicing the same thing together, then you're in sync with everyone, and through that extent, you have more of that that insight, that intensity. But yeah, I don't know if that helps. Oh yes, bro. Yes.
Association. I was thinking about just like the festivals, for example, Diwali is going on, right? So, or Christmas, any sort of festivals, right? What is it? What is the thing which brings, I don't know how to put it in the words, the festive mood? How does that come into our consciousness? Because everybody is involved. That's how. Otherwise, externally, if you just analyze the activities, exchanging gifts or, honoring meals, feast and stuff like that. All throughout the year, there are several such occasions where, you have birthday parties and everything. But there is, at the lesser unit, lesser number of people involved there, lesser number of consciousnesses involved. So that is the thing that you brought out. Thank you for bringing that up. Sankirtan, right? That is the thing. When everyone comes together with whole and soul purpose to please Krishna, I think that's what creates that whole atmosphere. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, and yeah, that's definitely true. It's that Sankirtan, Sangha Kirtan. And one thing I've also realized is that, when people are so pure around you, you feel the need to be just as pure as them, and combine, sink in with them. But yes. I do have one last small story. I'll keep it really short. I was very fortunate to hear this story, so I wanted to share with you in connection to this, is that there's this one time, this is Mahavara Prabhu, Jabala Maharaj's secretary, he mentioned this story. He said that when Jabala Maharaj first came here, he first went to go see Giriraj Maharaj, and at that time they had some kirtan going on, and at the end of the kirtan, Giriraj Maharaj and Jabala Maharaj, they both hugged each other. And so Giriraj Maharaj said, when I hugged Jabala Maharaj, I could hear Gauranitai dancing in his heart. And so Jabala Maharaj responded saying that, it's because Gauranga Nityananda are dancing in his mind. That there. Shrimad Bhagavatam ki, Shri Prabhupada ki, Tagore Premanand.